We've got a ton of new NHL contracts, the draft is over, and we've got free agency starting tomorrow at noon, so let's get caught up. And I know I said I would be doing a dedicated draft video. Honestly, I'm not a prospects guy. We did have a relatively rare first overall D-man with Matthew Schaefer. He should see lots of ice this season with the Islanders. Michael Misa, number 2, is a very exciting player. I think he could end up being the best player out of this draft, and the Sharks in a few years could be terrifying. The only player I'm really otherwise familiar with, however, was Caleb Desnoyers, who played on Moncton in the queue. But let's talk the trades and extensions. The big one that people have been waiting for did drop today, as Mitch Marner is now a Golden Knight. Leafs fans will be happy to hear that they at least got something from his contract, as it was a sign and trade. They get Nick Waugh from Vegas, good depth centerman. They also picked up Michelli. I've been really happy with what the Leafs have been managing, considering, well, everything. Marner, he would have been absolutely hated had he just signed somewhere. He's still going to be extremely disliked and booed in Toronto. What's insane is that he signed an 8-year, $12 million per year contract with Vegas, which, considering the cap, is actually less than he signed for with Toronto on his RFA contract. I don't know if that's on Dubas, on Vegas, on Marner, but man, who knows? In a couple of years, we could be looking back at a player who's since won a couple of Stanley Cups saying he got all the blame for what was ultimately bad breaks. Or maybe it doesn't work out. We'll see. But it's going to be entertaining. One funny angle to this story is, had Vegas not traded for Marner's rights and instead signed him when free agency opened, there were rumors that Toronto was going to lodge a tampering complaint with the NHL. Tampering is basically when you talk to a player and try to form a deal before they're contractually allowed to. So, in a way, Toronto sort of strong-armed Vegas. Elliot Friedman explained that there's the idea going around the league and GMs that the NHL is waiting to make an example out of someone. But let's talk the champs, because they have been making some moves as well. And by moves, I mean they've locked up basically their entire team, with one exception I'll get to in a minute. First of all, Sam Bennett signed an 8-year contract extension. Ends up being an $8 million AAV. Honestly, kind of a hard contract to analyze. I mean, he just won the Conn Smythe. I have no doubts he could have gotten more somewhere else. He's only scored, however, 20 or more goals 3 times. He's 29 years old. With the way the cap is really rising, $8 million I think is fine. However, his contract near the tail end might end up looking a bit rough for Florida, but maybe not. Maybe his play will age well. But for one that I think is a little more clearly a hometown discount, but which may also age poorly, we have Eblad 8 times 6.1. Bill Zito is pulling some magic. Eblad is down from his last contract. I don't know. I actually at times thought he looked a bit weak in the playoffs. That's why I think this contract could end up looking a little poor by the end of it. But Florida is keeping the band together. They are fully fighting for that dynasty status. So good for them. And I mean, this is an insane hometown discount. So you know what? Forget what I said. 6.1 at the end of the contract will be fine. Probably, however, the strangest contract today, Brad Marchand, and I had to double check my phone when I saw this, is signing a 6-year extension with Florida. And no, you're not misremembering. Brad Marchand is 37 right now, so this contract runs until he's 43. Being 37 means that there are also some different rules, specifically regarding buyouts and everything else. You really can't buy out or bury an over 35 contract. What Florida is probably relying on, and there was talk about this with the Leafs and Chris Tanev, is for him to essentially go on LTIR near the end of his contract. And I think the way the winds are blowing, that may not be possible by the time he's ready to retire. So we'll see. Anyway, I mentioned that the core is going to be mostly locked up. Obviously, the exception to that is Bobrovsky, and that is a big exception. Bobrovsky would have been my choice for playoff MVP, which may be kind of insane, but watching that Edmonton series especially, there were so many times where he simply weathered the storm with Edmonton making a mistake, and Florida playing up is just so dangerous. Bob will be 37 at the beginning of next year, but the good thing for Panthers fans is that he's got a big cap hit, $10 million. So Florida will have a lot of room to try to replace him. Not to say they'll do so immediately. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he signed a couple of single-year contracts or whatever, but pretty interesting. But I do want to talk a little bit more about the Leafs. I've been, as I mentioned, super happy with their moves so far. They got Tavares done at 4 years, 4.38, which is just spectacular. I saw this tweet from Sportsnet Stats. I'll just read. Tavares goes from the 9th highest cap hit in 2024-25 to the 253rd highest, while coming off a season where he scored the 12 most goals in the NHL. This is such a team-friendly deal. I love this for JT. He's probably my favorite Leaf right now. But there's a deal I like even more. Matthew Knies for 6 years, 7.75. Knies is such a phenomenal young player. He's impressed me every step of the way. I would have loved the Leafs to actually lock him down for 8 years, but it works out better for him. He'll get a big contract while still in his late 20s. I'd actually like them to re-sign Pacioretty for one more go. The Leafs could make one more move, but there certainly aren't a whole lot of UFAs right now. Anyway, on the opposite end, the Oilers managed to lock up Bouchard 4 years, $10.5 million. I mean, it's tough to see that after Eblad re-signs. I see them both as kind of similar players. Bouchard, he contributed a lot during the playoff runs. He had a lot of brain fart moments as well. But you've got Florida. Everyone's taking team-friendly deals, and you've got Edmonton where, they did also move on from Kane. I think they will try to re-sign Perry. It's really that Darnell Nurse contract that they'd really want to get out from under, but it is what it is. Anyway, there's some other news. Giroux re-signed. Tarasenko moved to Minnesota. We've got more to talk about. That's all I have for now, though. Let me know your guys' thoughts on all this and more down below, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.